Okay, it should have started. Should have started. If you guys, everyone out there listening, let us know if you're receiving us loud and clear. I'm gonna drop the open for this right now. Boom, there it goes.
Welcome back
Yeah,
to
it's
the Hank's Strange
Yes,
Situation.
make sure you
Lifestyles
subscribe.
of the
Make
locked
sure you
and
thumbs
loaded.
up. Excuse me. Make sure you ring the bell. We are live. Come on, let's see jazz hands. Come on, let's do it. There you go. Come on, Cody. You got to do. Cody's trying to get away.
Gotta do it,
Yeah,
man.
trying to get away with it. Same thing with Will. I got to police everyone to make sure they're doing
Oh,
the
I had
job.
it, brother. You missed. You missed.
I hope you guys are wearing your happy 400th episode panties tonight, because we are live. We are live. This is the Who Moved My Freedom podcast, episode number 400, yo. 400. And it's FreeForAll Monday as well. And we're celebrating the greatest pro-Second Amendment podcast on earth, Who Moved My Freedom podcast. Our special guest tonight. Okay, let's see. Who do I even start with?
Doubling up, we got two.
Yeah, let's start with Cody from Walther Arms. There he goes. Cody's
Hello.
back from looks like a bedroom.
Yep,
Yeah,
bedroom.
looks like a bedroom.
I'm finally home.
Yeah, okay, awesome. He's home, he's doing it. And then we also have Will from Bear Creek Cattle Company joining us.
That's it.
Yes, Will was supposed to be here last week and something horrible happened. Yeah.
We don't talk about that.
Yeah.
For those of y'all that didn't catch it, it wasn't me, right?
That's
No.
right.
No.
It was all on Hank.
YouTube.
It was Hank's.
Yeah, it was me. It was Lola's fault. I blame Lola.
She was on the internet? You didn't
Yeah.
hear the-
Lola
Broke YouTube servers.
Yes, Lola messed up the YouTube server. And look at him. There he goes. Babyface P. Wearing a patch
up?
hat with no patches. Can we get him a
You know,
Walther
it'd be-
patch or
yeah,
something?
I was just about to say, it'd be great if I had a Walther patch to
what
throw
is
up
go-
here.
Sure.
Yeah. You know, like he's got the patch hats but no patches to go on.
Okay.
Yeah. I
Act
do.
cool enough, man. Come on.
Yeah, I don't really understand that. Anyway, so we're here. You guys are here. Shout out to everyone. Of course, the show is being brought to you today by Walther Arms,
Hell yeah.
our sponsor. Thanks to Walther Arms for helping us bring the podcast to the people.
Whoa! Did you
that?
see the donation you just got?
Oh, no, I didn't.
Holy
I haven't seen
moly.
anything. Where is it?
Real Cujo just gave us $50.
Oh, wow. Awesome.
There's some
Thanks.
$50.
Shout out to Real Cujo. He says...
Let's celebrate 800 hours of fun. God knows how much more this. God knows how much more
hours?
time setting up, and most of all, great conversations.
Yes.
If 400 episodes, 2 hours apiece.
Yeah, we have been
800 hours.
ruining the minds of America. I'm so proud of that. 800 hours at a time. So yes, thanks. A big shout out to Real Cujo for that. Thanks a lot. Let's see who else we got in here. There's a whole bunch of people in here. So I'm gonna try to Babyface. You're gonna probably have to help me because the comments are coming like crazy in here. Everyone, smash the thumbs ups. Make sure you're subscribed. Ring the bell and all that kind of stuff. Leave comments if you have them here. I'm gonna try to get to it. I'm gonna try to scroll through here and see. See what's going on in here. Let's see if there are any.
Music Lover says, "Don't own any Walthers anymore, but love the PPQ." You know what's what's the James Bond gun? That's one of the ones that I've always wanted.
That's PPK.
It's PPK?
Yes, yeah.
Yeah.
I want a PPK at some point as like a suit gun, like a classy going out gun. I need one. It's one day that's gonna be my suit gun.
Okay, you want that in what caliber? 380?
They come in 380 mostly, don't they?
Yeah, just 380. Back in the day, 32, but we don't do that anymore. So.
Yeah, no, I'll go for 380 over 32.
Yeah, wait, didn't you guys you didn't make a 9? There's no 9mm version?
No, it's not. People get a little confused because on the side of the slide it says 9mm Kurtz.
Which is 380 ACP.
Yeah. All right.
380 ACP. Yeah.
Okay. All right. Very cool. Very cool. Let's see. I'm trying to go through here and shout out people. Mr. Hootie Hoo is out there. Shout out to Hootie Hoo. I see him out there. I think I see Harry's holsters as well. There's a whole bunch of things scrolling up here, so you guys might have
Fariland, Jay Brennan, Vanessa Kitty, Kiaski, Real Cujo with the big $50 Christian Grest, Moo Butts, Kathleen Music Lover, Scooter Trash Tactical. I like that name.
Yeah.
Let's see. And he's trying to find some of the names. Who we already said. Chris Williams. Rob Avis. Big Dick Willie.
Yes, Big Dick Willie. That's his real name.
It's God-given name, born, came out of the womb.
William Willie, that's the name. Yeah. And he happens to be a very, plus-size gentleman.
Listen.
Plus-size gentleman.
That's all his business.
Yeah, it's legitimate. We're not judging. We're not judging. Yeah. Okay. So listen, because there's a bunch of comments and stuff like that scrolling up there, so I'm gonna have to come back around to that. So let's check in with people here. Let's start with Will. What's up, man? How are you doing? How's everything?
Oh, great, man. Just a lot going on. This time of the year is a busy season for us. Restaurant consumption is up, so we're doing a lot of deliveries. We got babies dropping everywhere on all of our farms, and a lot of pasture maintenance. We're in the grass business. As long as we've got a lot of grass, we've got food for the cows, and we're happy soaking up that vitamin D and curing the winter depression, and life is good.
Yeah. So you should just explain to people what you do, because you're like babies dropping out in the pasture. People may not know. You want to explain?
Probably does need some clarification. Right?
Yes.
I operate an all-natural beef operation in the North Georgia mountains. Primarily, we supply wholesale distribution to restaurants, premium quality. We try and produce the best product, but as a very close side benefit, it is raised all naturally, like our forefathers did it. And we do sell direct to the public. We currently source our beef into some of the local retailers, and we're working on trying to create a destination spot here at one of our home farms, and where people can come and take a farm tour, purchase our beef products directly, and eventually I'm hoping to get us to where we can ship nationwide. We do it on a very limited basis right now, but it's cost prohibitive to be on a large scale, but we're working on that. So hopefully we can bring the beef to the people.
Yes. So if people out there are thinking, hey, how can we get our hands on some premium beef? Just for exposure. This is gonna sound weird, but I have tried your meat.
Hey, after 8 years in the business, I've heard it all. So I don't even blush anymore. I'm the meat man.
It's good stuff. Your meat is good. It's good meat. It's good eating. Yeah, but so the folks out there cannot get it shipped to them right now. But can they come to you? Can they come to you guys to get that stuff or?
Yeah. Okay. Yes, they can. Currently, we're creating some kind of meet and greets here on the farm, and that's tongue in cheek for both.
I know that's so perfect.
Yeah, and so we're going to be putting some packages together and setting some dates that folks can come and pick up packages. We also sell quarters, halves, and wholes. So you can get anywhere from 120 pounds of beef right now to 500 pounds, and it's very cost effective to do that. So for those folks that want to budget for it and fill a freezer up and have the best beef all through the summer and into the winter, it's a great option. Okay. But we are going to create some smaller packages for, budget options so that you don't have to buy 100 pounds at one time, and love to meet people and tour them around the farm and make a great experience of it.
Okay, so like an average family, I don't know, I guess like a four people, how much meat do they eat in a year, let's say?
Yeah, so that varies from family to family, right? Some families eat beef all the time. Some people, have it as a delicacy, I guess, once or twice a month. And so that really varies. I typically like to say that a half a cow will supply a family of 4 on average for a year. And as a matter of fact, we are giving away free beef for a year. Wow. And the drawing, so you have to follow Bear Creek Cattle Company on Instagram and Facebook and tag 10 of your friends. It's a real simple process. We're giving that away July 31st. Now, the asterisk or small print is that equates to half a cow. So we've taken the average of what a family of 4 should eat in a year. And so we're going to give away a half a cow July 31st. But, about an $1,800 retail value, and doesn't cost you anything but a few seconds, a couple clicks, and you're in.
Okay, and just right now I'm throwing up Bear Creek Cattle Company on Instagram for anyone that's out there listening to us. If you guys can go over there, so you did actually post something that you were going to be here on the show. So you guys should go over there and like that and all that kind of stuff and win you some meat. I just have to say, when Lola makes steak, she goes, "Oh, what do you want with your steak?" And I say, "I want steak with a side of steak and steak." Extra steak.
You got to get those meat sweats before you're done.
Yeah.
And we love customers like you.
Yeah. Yes.
Of course.
Real Americans.
Keep you in business.
Absolute
Yes.
carnivores.
Yes,
But,
absolutely.
for those that don't follow us on Instagram and Facebook, and primarily, I guess we put a little more stream into the Instagram feed, but everything copies to Facebook. But we put a lot of stuff in our Instagram stories. So we kind of have an interesting mix. It's not just pictures of steak and beef. We try and give a lot of behind the scenes and a lot of entertainment value, I guess, to following us. And, every now and then I'll throw up a picture of a new deer rifle that we're looking at for the following season. And, just earlier today, I was trying to decide between two camo patterns on a crossbow and threw that up to kind of poll the masses. And we do some funny videos, and it's a lot of fun.
Yeah, absolutely. You are gun people out there, so cool. All right, let's check in on Cody. Cody, what have you been up to, sir?
And been traveling all around. I think since the last time we spoke, I think I went to Iowa right after we were here in Nuremberg. So I did the Nuremberg show. Talked to you at NRA show for a little bit.
Yep. Did we didn't get a chance to see you after the NRA show, did we? I don't think so. No. Yeah.
Yep, so
because that's like the kickoff for a whole bunch of different shows that you guys go to.
Not really. NRA kind of ends it.
It ends it? Okay.
Yeah, we did the USCCA show after NRA, and that was kind of the last one for the season. So, yeah, we'll kick back up in the fall and start hitting some more, buy group distributor shows and stuff like that. But, yeah, it's, Q1, Q2 is very busy. We travel quite a bit. Just got back from Houston. Went down there to shoot the Area 4 USPSA championship, and a tornado blew through and just destroyed everything.
Wow.
That got canceled and moved to July.
Okay. So the circuit you're on is like 2-gun, 3-gun matches?
I mostly just do pistol only. I shot the Hornady 3-gun zombie match a couple weeks ago in Nebraska. It was pretty fun. It's not really my strong suit. I suck reloading a shotgun, so gave up on that.
You gotta what's the name of the guy again that teaches John Wick? You gotta get those John Wick classes.
Taran Tactical.
Yeah, Taran Tactical.
Yeah.
That's why they run those 4-foot tubes under them. 30 rounds. It's crazy in some of those 3-gun matches.
Do you know how to do that stuff well? You know how to do like the 3 at a time or
a little bit. So I'm ex law enforcement. So I've had a good bit of practice with a shotgun, and I can do tactical reloads and stuff over the top and all that, but I've never shot a 3-gun match, so I'm probably not the speed champion of the world.
Okay,
sure.
So Cody, you know how to do it. You can teach us. Okay.
Back a few years ago, I learned how to do the load 2. As soon as I learned how to do load 2, everyone started doing load 4. So I learned how to do load 4. Exactly. And then I finally figured out that you could go to open and have the speed loader tubes, which just hold 4, 6, or 8 rounds, and you just shove that tube into your gun basically, and it loads those rounds for you. Much easier.
Okay, so it's a specific tube to do that?
Yeah.
Okay.
So you can look at Arredondo accessories. They make like a ramp that attaches to your like feed gate area. Got like 2 posts that stick up, and so they sell a bunch of tubes that you put a little handle at the back and load like 4, 6, or 8 rounds into it, and you just flip the shotgun over, put that tube out against those 2 posts on your feed gate, and push, and it'll load all 4, 6, or 8 rounds into your shotgun. So very, very quick.
Cool.
A lot easier than trying to do that load 2 stuff. So.
Yeah. Who here on the panel has seen the latest John Wick?
I have not.
I've seen it. Yeah, it was good.
I've seen all the cliff notes all over YouTube.
Yeah, it was good. What did you think, Cody? You saw it.
I liked it a lot. I'm a big fan. We actually had some guns in that movie. A lot of the villains carried PPQs and CCPs.
Kudos.
The villains' guns.
Yeah. We tried.
You're getting there. You're getting close.
Get into that, the Terran stuff, but Terran kind of controls most of those guns.
Yeah.
But,
See, here's what you.
Like them a lot. They're good, old school. I don't know if anybody caught the scene though. When he's building the revolver, it's like a flashback to The Good, the Bad, and the Ugly. The old villain was building the revolver and clicking.
Yeah, and he was spinning it.
Yep, straight out of The Good, the Bad, and the Ugly. So that was really cool to see, like the old Western throwback.
Yeah, someone needs to do that to see if you can actually just go in there and take a random parts, for a single action and put it together and make it work. Yeah. Well, I think. Hold on, he just did one shot. Well, we're probably ruining it.
Just one shot,
Yeah, spoiler alert.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, for people out there. Yeah, it was a good movie. What you have to do, here's the thing that you do. You sneak into John Wick's house, hopefully when he's out, like, kicking some other bad guys' asses. Sneak in there.
Yeah, you better be real quiet.
Yeah.
Don't kill his dog when you sneak in there. And then go into his stash in the basement, under the concrete, little concrete thing, and just put a bunch of Walthers in there.
And with a little note saying you're welcome.
Yeah.
I'm gonna push for the steel frame for the next one. There's gonna be a John Wick 4. I gotta push the steel frame.
Yeah, yeah, for sure. How many John Wicks you guys think we're going to? Because I know they're already working on 4.
Yeah,
all the John Wicks.
Yeah,
I don't know. Keanu Reeves said he would do as many as people would come to watch. So
Nice.
yeah. I don't think he's. I say 10 at least. It's gonna get to 10.
I'd be down for that. I mean, it's just
when they start spinning it off, that's when it's gonna just.
Yeah, they're doing like a series now, like The Continental on Netflix, I think. So.
Yeah.
Man, I was totally into it when I first saw the behind the scenes at Terran Tactical, and Keanu Reeves is like blowing through those targets, man, like a pro.
He's like
I was
real
like,
deal, yeah.
Yeah, I was like, man, I'm all in. Usually it's just all the smoke and mirrors and the Hollywood doubles and whatever, but he was legit.
Halle Berry did the same one for this too. She did a bunch of that training also.
Yeah.
Terran's a heck of a shooter. I mean, I'm probably one of the original, like, super fast, 3-gun shooters. So he still is fast. I shot against him a couple of years ago at Nationals in Florida, and I can still move somehow and still gun pretty dang fast. So.
Yeah. Also, Terran Tactical has a badass business plan. You know what I'm going to do? I'm going to hire a bunch of badass chicks to be the trainers. I think sign me up for training, sir. I'll be over there training too. Yeah.
Got it, man.
Yeah. But she was go ahead.
He's got kind of the corner of the market now on Hollywood too. I mean, he's the go-to guy. So, the business keeps building on itself, and man, he's merchandised all his products. You can get the, Glock extensions and, you name it, Terran Tactical branded. It's pretty awesome.
When I was carrying a Glock 43, I had his extended base plates on it. And I didn't even realize that until recently, that they were Terran Tacticals, and that's who that is.
Yeah.
And he's nice. I've done an interview with him. I usually see him at SHOT Show. He's cool. Because
he's a very competitive person too. So when he gets out there, he does not like to lose at all. So
yeah. Also, I was gonna say Halle Berry did dog training, so she actually got certified as a dog trainer. So
like a handler, like a dog handler.
Yeah.
Wow.
So that stuff you see the dogs doing, they trained her so that she could do it, just to make it easier. Just like how they train them to do the shooting to make it easier to do it. Yeah. So, those dogs are pretty badass. Let me give some shout outs to people. I see Clover Tack out there. What's Clover Tack saying? He says, I think he says it's all right talking about the movie. He says Cable had the PPQ Q5 match in Deadpool, right? Was that in Deadpool?
Yep.
Okay. And then let's see. We've got Mr. Hootie Who's out there. He says, I have never shot a Walther. Okay.
They're good guns.
Yeah, we can
help
you.
You got like 13 more days where you can buy one and try it out for 30 days and send it back if you don't like it. So.
Oh wait, that's expiring. That's expiring in 13 days.
Yeah,
Wow.
June 20th, man. Get on
Okay.
it.
All right. So tell people out there what exactly you're talking about, just in case no one ever heard of it.
Yeah, so you can basically go to any store or buy any PPQ, Walther PPQ online, as long as it has the PPQ designation. You can try it out for 30 days. If you don't like it, you can go to shootitloveitbuyit.com and fill out the little paperwork to return it back to us, and we issue you a full refund for the cost of the gun and tax and shipping. So it literally costs you nothing if you don't like the gun. So
Nice.
Yeah.
Have confidence in your product, because there's not a lot of returns on that.
there's not.
Yeah, it's just very ergonomic, so it's a nice pistol. So.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's done well. So
yeah, take advantage of that, people out there. I mean, why not? If you've never tried it out, you can do it.
Yeah.
So
if you're looking for a suppressor host, what is it, the P22? That's the one you guys make. That thing is stupid quiet. It's quieter than anything else I own.
Yeah. And we got the PPQ 22 also.
Yes.
Put a can on. I
haven't tried one of those. I need to.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I actually have like 2 suppressors with mine here that I'm going to be going through while we're here talking. I've got like my Sparrow, my first 22 suppressor, from Silencer Co. Sparrow's a pretty good one. Sparrow's pretty good. I got the Sparrow. I'm sure everyone here has 22s. I don't know if everyone here has cans on their 22s.
You should.
Yeah. Put your hands up if you do not have a suppressor for your 22.
Oh, no.
Oh, come on. Oh.
I don't know, 22 is a whole lot. I have a 5.56 and a 308.
You don't have a 22 suppressor?
Man, the 22s are addictive.
Okay.
I'm bad, man. It's always 9mm for me.
Wait, hold on a second. You've never shot 22 suppressed?
I have in the past, yes, but I just don't shoot them that much. So.
Oh my gosh, man, that is so much fun. So there you go. That's what it looks like with the Sparrow on there.
That's neat looking.
Huh?
I always joke and tell everybody my Savage FVSR is in my home defense lineup, and they're like, "What? 22?" I was like, "Yeah, man, I can dispatch like vermin and stuff."
Yeah.
I live on a farm, and something gets after the chickens, and it's gone.
Yeah, super quiet.
Nobody heard anything.
Yeah.
300 blackouts, pretty quiet too.
Well, that's not like killing a mosquito with a baseball bat. But
not to say that there's anything wrong with it.
We have that too.
Yes.
There we go.
Yep. Got a little rugged micro 30 on it. So
Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah.
BCM.
Listen, I think it's always good, especially if you live in a rural area, actually there's lots of people who live in non-rural areas. Some people in this thing that I won't mention, that they have 22s with suppressors because your neighbors never hear you taking out the squirrels or what is it? What are those things? Those little gopher moles? What are those things, Patrick?
Armadillos are the worst.
Oh yeah, armadillos too.
Definitely
Yeah,
don't take those out. That's not.
Yeah.
Little leprosy carriers running around and tearing up my yard.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I have a friend that has like night vision and pistols with suppressors, and he just sits out there popping the armadillos.
America.
Yes. So it's when you come out to Florida to shoot with us, Cody. We'll have a bunch of 22s with cans on it.
Awesome.
How about
Sounds
that?
like a plan.
Yeah. We have to inspire you to get a suppressor for your 22s, man. Can't beat it. Yeah. Let's see. Does someone want to say something here? Hold on a second. Real Cujo says, what would be a good Walther for a disabled guy in a wheelchair?
All
All of them.
Yeah.
I mean, like I said, PPQ is really our flagship, and I mean, when you start looking at just the way the ergonomics are designed on recoil impulse and trigger and everything, it's really the go-to gun. In my opinion, it's really all I carry and just about all I shoot anymore. So I would really just look at, even just like the compact 9mm is probably one of the most versatile platforms I think that's out there. Great concealed carry, great for just going to the range and shooting. I mean, I shoot my 4-inch carry gun in IDPA competitions and do very well. So, I mean, it goes back and forth really well. Has the performance that you need to do kind of whatever you want.
Okay. There you go. Kenny Van Cleve says, and you guys support Crowder. Yes, they do. A lot of Crowder. You know, which he's gonna need it more and more nowadays.
Oh yeah, right.
He's coming out ahead, I think, at the moment, which is good.
Yeah.
He's been selling a lot of those Mug Club memberships.
Yeah, the Mug Clubs have been going crazy, so he's
doing good.
Yeah. Let's see what I'm trying to get a couple of. There was someone here. Okay, Kiaski says, "Is there any way I buy the returns at a discount?"
Sorry, that's us at the factory. We haven't got many back. So
yeah. So the guys working at the factory had first dibs. Wait, hold on. Someone sent one of those back?
Yeah.
What?
Oh, you're always going to get somebody sending something back.
Wow.
That's a program the employees can really get behind. Everybody's like,
yeah.
You got another one.
Okay, so we're talking about just hold it up again and then say what it is, because there are some people listening to this on audio. Hold on. Let me go close in on you here. Okay.
Yeah. So that is the Walther Q5 match steel frame.
Yes.
I've got mine with the X300 and a Delta Point Pro on top, and then I have the Springer Precision +5s at the bottom. So
yeah.
That trigger, that blue is cool.
Yeah. Well, and then you've got the base. Is that a base plate that you have on the magazine or extender?
Yeah, so it's got a magwell, and then Springer Precision drops some +5 extensions that fit inside the magwell. So.
I thought I heard you say that right. I was like, +5? Wow.
Oh, yeah. This one's 21 + 1, so you might as well have a carbine with you. You know,
That's a beast. It's a beast.
Yeah, it'll get out there really easy. So it's a fun gun. I shot the first match with it at the Zombie 3-gun match, and there was only one stage that had all pistol, and that was kind of my strong suit. And I beat Doug Koenig, so I'll take that all day. So,
okay.
So it's that gun. It performs well. I'm excited to get it out and hit some more competitions with it. So.
You should see if you can get a Keanu Reeves lookalike and do your own commercial, like where he's like a John Wick lookalike, but the bad guy beats him because he has one of those.
Doesn't have a wall.
Yeah.
Should have carried a PPQ.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's the tagline.
That'll be funny. Okay, so the Tyven Show, you just mentioned the carbine. Tyven Show, shout out to the Tyven Show. He's been on the show. By the way, if I didn't thank everyone that watches the show, comes on the show all the time, I want to thank you guys. That's how we get to 400 episodes with all the great people coming on, you know, like Cody, like Will, like Patrick here. So, Tyven does that as well.
How do you get me on? Because I feel like I just get suckered into this somehow most of the time.
Exactly. Is your hypnotizing fading off or something like that? We got to re-hypnotize you. We got to re-brainwash you.
You're getting very patriotic.
Yes, that's right. You will do what Hank Strange says. No, okay. The Tyven Show says, please ask Walther if they will make a carbine. Have you ever heard that one before?
Oh, all the time. Probably from me. I imagine our product development department's probably tired of hearing me ask for that too. But it's just we're headed in a good direction. We have a lot of new products coming out, but we're solely a pistol brand. I mean, that's how we got started 130 years ago. So there's we've thought about it, but we really want to get some stuff right on this pistol end first and get to the head of the market where we need to be. Before we start dabbling in things that we don't have a whole lot of expertise in. So we just got the PPKS back going. The Q5 match steel frame was pretty revolutionary. We got, like I said, a lot more stuff coming, but I wouldn't count it out. There's a lot of guys around the office that are big time shooters other than me. So we definitely like our carbine courses and getting out on the range with those too. So
yeah.
Are you guys? Is the G22 that bullpup no longer made?
It's not. No, that got discontinued a while back before I even started working there. So yeah, that was kind of the last remnants of the carbine game for us. So.
Yeah, that's the one I got from Walter, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Good.
By the way, people are sending me pictures of their guns.
Nice.
So let's see.
Chat. I hadn't figured that out yet. So.
Yeah, this is a CCP right here that I'm throwing up on the screen with. Is this leopard?
No.
Yeah, it's got like a. I want to say it's a leopard print on it. You'll have to look at the replay because I know you guys can't see that, but here I'll show you.
Probably the cheetah print.
No, cheetah. Yeah, cheetah print. That's what it is.
Yeah.
Cheetah print. Okay. There it goes for.
Oh yeah.
Cheetah print. Yeah.
It's one of the. We do a lot of different color exclusives with distributors.
Oh, you guys did that.
God.
Yeah, we work with distributors. Yeah, we do what they ask for, man. And surprise.
Oh my God, who asked for that?
Business.
Yeah.
All the business.
Yeah.
Oh my God.
No, it's cool though. It looks cool. It looks good. It looks good.
Yeah, created CCP in that.
Yeah. Let me see. I got some questions. Babyface, if you see any questions coming in here that I'm missing, let me know. Harry's Holster says, ask Walther if they'll make a single stack PPQ steel match in 357 SIG with a comp and optic mounting system that converts to 22. This is very specific, Harry's Holster.
Very, very specific.
PPQ steel match 357 SIG with a comp and optic mounting rail that converts to 22 LR. Yeah, that is a
coming from Harrison. Yeah, Harrison.
I know, there's a lot going on there.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's a lot, man.
Yeah.
Still a few of those 357 SIGs.
Yeah. I didn't know anybody still shot that round.
Yeah. Shout out to Harrison. He supports the podcast as well. Harry's Holsters. Let me see. I think there was something else that I was missing. Someone was asking a question. By the way, please, everyone, smash the thumbs ups. Okay, let's get that going. We've got over 100 people here. We don't have 100 thumbs ups yet. Let's make it happen. I'm trying to scroll back through and see if we've got.
I do got to give a shout out to Will down there. I actually came from the agriculture industry.
Oh, okay.
Got into the firearms industry, and if you think it's, I think it's bad on this end and legislation and how people's perceptions are of firearms, the agriculture industry catches probably twice as much as that.
Is that true? Is that?
I mean, if AOC gets into any sort of power, she wants to get rid of cow farts and guns. So.
The smaller you are as an operation, probably we stay under the radar a little more. And the way, I operate Bear Creek Cattle Company is, utilizing sustainable practices. And that's not really just tongue in cheek to have a brand label, but, it's very beneficial. It helps produce a good product. I own a good bit of land, and if I'm going to own it, in which we never really own anything, right? Because it'll be here long after I'm gone. But
True.
I want to take care of it, and that also keeps all the legislation off my back. But the thing that really affects my business directly, might not be necessarily environmental issues and stuff, but all these things that you see on the news at night where they're, negotiating these export and import laws, it affects market value. And, even though I try to produce the Cadillac of beef, the price of the Chevy is still going to be market value. And, I can only obtain a premium above market value. So, it's always an ebb and tide of cattle values and beef prices. And so, the wave of the cruise ship affects the rowboat. So,
yeah.
I always laugh about because there's so many different styles, and it's just like the firearms industry. You got your low quality and your high quality, and you always get people that say they want to support all this, but then they go to the grocery store and how do you pick your meat? They dig through and they pick the cheapest.
Yep.
What's on the shelf and what's the cheapest, and that's what they buy.
Yeah.
10 chicken breasts for $10, and then, they wonder where that comes from and stuff like that. But, my wife actually works for the Department of Agriculture. She's an animal health technician and patrols around, make sure everyone's doing the right stuff. So she stayed in the industry, and I got into the firearms industry. So I still keep put in a little bit. His family still raises cattle, show cattle mostly, not so much for food, but
Well, I jokingly say that the beef business is my most expensive hobby, and then firearms is second.
For sure.
Not a lot of money in it. It has to be a love and a passion. And, Ben Franklin said a hardworking man is a happy man, and a idle man is a miserable one. And I really do believe that. I have other opportunities in life and other things that I could be doing. And I certainly, as I hope that I portray on here, I'm a very strong supporter of the Second Amendment. I'm an avid gun collector, shooter, outdoorsman. But I have to have something to do every day. And so that's why I choose to be a cowboy and get out there and play with the cows and chase bulls and have a good time. And like I said, soak up some of that vitamin D. So.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. You know how to work hard to do that. Your day doesn't stop at 5 and 6 o'clock like ours.
No, man. I could tell you right now, I think that being a farmer, that's not, there's a book I read like when I was really young. I think it's All Creatures Great and Small. You ever read that book? Yeah, it's not easy. I don't think I even want to know what it's like to have to grow up on the farm and go out there at all different times. We've got goats, so that's probably the closest that we come to it, where something's always dying, being born, escaping.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I don't know if you guys remember a few years ago when the Ram commercial came out and Paul Harvey did that and God Created a Farmer voiceover. And it was from a podcast or whatever they called it, probably back in the 70s, but they paired it with a Super Bowl commercial. And when I first heard that, man, it brought a tear to my eye because, there's a lot of things that people in the general public don't understand. It's those long hours. It's the willingness to stop your tractor, like he says in the voiceover and help a wounded animal or, take care of the environment, and being an avid outdoorsman, I'm always looking at the turkeys and the deer and how can I improve their habitat. And it's not just so that I have a successful hunting season. It's so that I see, these wildlife year round because I enjoy looking at them and being a caretaker and a steward. And it's a lifestyle. It's not a job.
Yeah, definitely a special calling. I'm sorry. Go ahead, Cody.
I was an ag teacher for a little while, and I taught ag actually in inner city outside Dallas, and most of those kids never did any of that, But we had school barns where they raise their own livestock and stuff, and it really teaches those kids a lot of work ethic. And most of us, we all know growing up, especially nowadays too, we're all experiential learners. We like to learn by doing, and you can take them in there and show them how to do math and calculations by what kind of shots you need to give them and antibiotics and things like that when they're raising these show animals and feed rations and what they need to be feeding, and they're applying what they're learning in the classroom to actually something that they can make money at. It really surprises them, and they end up learning a lot more. And it really, like I said, it teaches you a work ethic because there is no time schedule. We get raised on an 8 to 5 style job with a lunch break at 11:30, and when you're out on a farm and you're working with animals, it's 24/7.
Yeah.
Yeah. And to me, it feels like living because, all of us, anytime I even go to a restaurant, I catch myself, I'm stuck in my smartphone, I'm trying to check my Instagram feed. I'm, occupying my mind. And when I'm out on the farm, I'm in the moment. I'm worried about what's that bull going to do? What do I need to do in the next 15 minutes or whatever? And, I'm not thinking about social media and all this electronics and fast paced life. And, that's one of the things that I want to do as part of the agritourism push that I was telling you that I'm trying to transition the business to. So our farm is only an hour and a half north of Atlanta. And, there are literally kids in the city that think that chocolate milk is made on night shift at the Coke plant. And we laugh, but that's for real. And, I would love to bring some of those youngsters up, educate them and say, look, this is how, we need to produce food. And this is how, if bad things happen in the world, you don't just go to the grocery store to get your food. And all of this art of raising our own food source and, all of these skills, they're just passing by as the generations go on and they're being forgotten. And, I just think that education, I fully understand not every child that comes up and takes a farm tour is going to, become a farmer. The beef business is very capital intensive, and as land gets more expensive, it's more and more difficult to get into it. I understand all that, but if they can at least understand where their food comes from, it'll open their eyes to new horizons. So
yeah, I think so.
Yeah, when you look at, definitely getting, with your 4-H and FFA chapters local, I mean, ag teachers are killing for opportunities like that. So are county extension agents and 4-H. They always love those opportunities to take kids out to different farms and see different operations, especially when you start going through the different industrial style ones and then getting into all natural and USDA organic and things like that. So, there's a lot of different things out there. And I always learned how to, going through college, everyone laughs, and I still do it. I still do AI, which is artificial insemination.
Really? I was thinking something else, but okay.
Guys, yeah, I always send around Thanksgiving. I always send the guys at the office a nice picture of my arm up a cow. Just for them on Thanksgiving. But I mean, through college, I did that, and then I actually, I'd go to the stock shows and do cows' hair. Like we glued up hair and dressed them all up, and man, I'd make $100 to $150 a head at shows.
What?
Oh yeah.
That was good money in college, man. And so
you glue the hair. Hold on a second.
Yeah, right.
I've not heard of this.
If you Google a show steer, you'll see like one that's like super fluffy. The hair on their legs is all stood up and clipped.
They look like a giant teddy bear. It's hilarious to see them.
So that's glue or something? Okay.
Yeah, they use almost like hairspray for cows.
Spray for cows. I've never heard of this before.
Yeah, that's crazy. Google it. I know, and the old marketing guy that he actually went to Weatherby, and that's whose spot I took here at Walther. Man, he would just take me to lunch and just tell me to talk about ag and stuff because he just loved to hear about all this stuff because it's out there for people that haven't been around it. To me, it was a normal thing. Me and my wife both. So
yeah,
man, I wish you lived closer. We've got a bunch of AI calves due in mid-September, but we bred to a big name bull, Gardner Ranch Surefire this year, and I'm sure you understand EPDs and all that stuff and everything. He's a top producer, but so for those that don't understand why you would do AI versus natural service with bulls, so we still use bulls as cleanup. It's not 100% effective when you artificially inseminate. You get about 60%, maybe better if you got lucky. But the thing is, so me in North Georgia, I have access to the best genetics in the nation. I can literally look through a catalog of the best sires and say, yep, he's the one. He's going to fit everything that I need to improve my program. And this bull might be hundreds of thousands of dollars if I were to purchase him, but $15 I can buy straw and breed a cow. So that's the benefit.
Yeah, it's pretty crazy when people come over to the house and they'd ask me what the tank is in a corner, and I'm like, it's a semen tank.
Yeah. Yeah. See, this is the part you might not want to tell the people
it's
about
not the
before.
Fridge. That's not milk.
Yeah, we don't want to know. Might discourage. Like, wait a second. This is a career I'm going to get into where I'm messing around with bull semen.
So much right now.
Yeah. And next subject.
Yeah. So, here's the thing that this line of conversation brings up in my brain. I want to go round robin and ask everyone. I'll probably start with maybe we'll start with Babyface Pete. Everyone here, what is the job that you would do if you could just wave a magic wand and have this career or job or whatever? What is it that you would do if nothing could get in the way of that?
Oh, for me, it'd be manufacturing. Probably a firearms accessories or firearms parts or guns in general, but manufacturing.
Okay.
The actual nuts and bolts of manufacturing, having CNCs, having lathes, that sort of stuff.
Okay. All right. Cool. So you'd you'd want to make parts over making the guns because you can make the carbine for us, Babyface.
It depends.
Babyface carbines before Walther does it.
So easy because they're not regulated. Where firearms, it's a pain in the ass dealing with the ATF.
Yeah, that's true. Okay, that's true. Yeah, that's true. All right, let's see. Let's go to Will next. What would you do, Will?
Yeah, I would do what I'm doing.
Okay.
That's awesome. I have other opportunities and other choices. I did put my time in. I've got a great education, a lot of experience, and I could seek other opportunities, but this is really what, outside of just retirement and living free, and I love the firearms industry. So in the back of my mind, I would say, possibly something in the firearms industry, but I don't know that I would want to make that my job because it's very difficult in any job.
It's a tough game
to go on, and it have the same feeling. And farming. I'm 8 years into this career choice, and I still find a lot of excitement. And don't get me wrong, there's days that it's a real job. It's February, it's raining, it's cold. I'm dreading going out to put out hay and taking care of the cows and mucking through mud and other stuff up to my knees. It's not all fun and games. My saying is everybody wants to be a cowboy until it's time to do cowboy stuff.
Yeah.
And that's real.
Yeah.
And but honestly, I choose this life. I could do other stuff, but I choose it.
Yeah. So you don't miss being like a Georgia state trooper, giving out tickets and stuff like that on the highways?
I was an agent in South Carolina.
Oh, South Carolina. Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
And I was a canine handler.
Okay. South Carolina is not as bad. The Georgia guys gave out a lot. They give out tickets for anyone who knows.
And that wasn't my primary job anyway.
Okay.
But I was a canine handler, and I trained a lot of canines, and I loved the dogs. I had 2 certified police dogs, and loved them dearly. And about 9 years ago, I lost my police dog. I was able to take him when I left, and really from there on, it the love for dogs never left, but my desire to have another kind of faded. And I look back, and I did that when I was young too. And although, a bull staring you in the eyes, it is an adrenaline rush. I mean, if it's the wrong bull and you're in the wrong place at the wrong time, it's no fun. But I guess part of my incentive when I was in law enforcement, besides, protecting and serving the public, was the adrenaline rush, to be honest. And, I think that's a young man's game. And I did miss it for a little while after I got out. It felt weird, but, I've had a long time to accustom myself to a different lifestyle, and it's just a lot less stress on a day-to-day basis. I get to be kind and friendly to people, and I'm visiting restaurants and chefs and meeting customers, and I pride myself on the customer service that we provide, and it's good to be fun, not have to deal with some of the worst of society. So no, I don't miss it that much.
Okay, cool. I would think that the bulls would be happy to see you after you've extracted all the semen, but that's just
I don't do that part now. Come on, I got to draw the line somewhere. They typically, like sometimes I've got this bull, and I've got several bulls. I think I've got 4 or 5, and I'm running multiple herds, and we've got 2 calving seasons during the year, and we have timed calving. So I put the bull in at a certain time. I take the bull out at a certain time. And, sometimes I'm trying to get the bull to load on a trailer, and you can't make an 1,800-pound bull do anything. So all you can do basically is, a lot of times I'll take what we call cattle panels. They're just these big steel panels, and I'll strap them to the back of a trailer, and I'll feed them and kind of lure them into those panels and shut the door. But from there, it's kind of, it's somewhat up to them. And I'm like, man, get on the trailer. You have no idea where you're going. It's going to be great. And they don't realize it until they get out, but it's hilarious. I really should video this. When I take a bull to a new pasture and a new herd, and I'll let him out, they'll walk off the trailer, and if they don't see the herd, they can smell them. So they'll smell the ground, and they'll curl, they'll lip up and start bugling, and man, it's great.
It's on. It's
on.
like 75 virgins in a field. Yeah.
Well, typically you only run it's not that great for a bull, because you only run a bull over 25 to 30. That's about the herd size that they can handle per animal. But still pretty good odds.
You're just
okay.
Making Hank's dreams right here. 25 to 30.
Yeah. Okay. Let me get this question in from Tyven before I get my own self in trouble. Tyven says, "Ask how much a semen extractor makes. Does that need a college degree?"
It's not.
No.
And if you ever watch that stuff happen, man, it's funny.
Yeah. I don't know how you go to sleep at night.
Well, just to take away some of the ambiguity, they actually do that electronically now. They have a special probe that they insert, and it stimulates.
That's not cool.
Yeah. So there's no manual labor involved in that, thankfully.
Yeah,
man.
Hate to ruin anybody's dreams.
Yeah, the poor bull.
If you're into that, just go over to the horses, okay?
Ashley from Gunstreamer, shout out to Ashley. Ashley from Gunstreamer says, "I would definitely have a horse and dog rescue ranch. I'd have to have chickens and goats too." Okay, very cool.
I do have chickens, and I had goats, but I'm gonna tell you, those things are like kin to Houdini. So a goat spends 99.995% of their life trying to get out.
Oh
They
yeah.
don't, they don't even go anywhere. They get out of the fence and they go around, and it's like they're laughing at you. And then you put them right back in and you're like, yeah, I showed them. And then like you're not even back in the house and they're out again.
Yeah,
So.
or getting their head stuck in, depending on what kind of fencing you have. That is so annoying. Yeah, yeah.
I will say, my mom runs a rescue for potbelly pigs, like mini pigs.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, and it's a lot of work.
I can imagine. Yeah. So what's yours? What's yours, Cody?
So I'm kind of like Will. I actually lucked into the position. This is actually the exact position I've always wanted. I have a bachelor's and master's degree in agricultural science and education, and used it for a little while. And I actually started working at a gun store as just a retail associate, and worked my way up at that gun store, and then took a super entry level job at Walther and ran that for a little while as I traveled the country as basically a sales rep, a dealer support rep. I have no marketing experience in my background, but I knew I always wanted to do that. So I just kind of learned from the right people, and the opportunity came up last August, and put my name in the pot, and they actually chose me to take over the marketing side for Walther, and now it's kind of grown from there, and I'm basically the head of marketing for Walther USA, and I get to work a lot with Karl Walther Germany also, and how the brand looks. And if you haven't noticed the new direction of Walther, there's new logo, new ad campaigns, more innovative kind of promotions and things like that coming. So it's been a fun thing. I spent so much time just trying to get here. I'm really enjoying it, and it is a lot of work, and same thing with Will. You kind of go by that 80-20 rule. I mean, if your job sucks, more than 20% of the time, then you should probably get out of it. But it's always going to suck some days.
Yeah.
But I love my job though, even the high stress days, and then I get to go shoot matches, visit gun stores, and then just think of better ways to market guns to people. So it's a dream job for a lot of different people, and I've always been very, very thankful for it, especially when you go around the industry and you talk to a lot of guys, and they're not big shooters. They really don't enjoy shooting. They kind of get annoyed when you try to talk to them about guns. I'm like, what? Like people would kill to have this job, like for sure.
Yeah. You're that guy that everybody's like, man, how do you become the marketing guy for a firearms company?
It takes passion,
I
though.
am that guy.
Yeah, but it takes passion. That's what it is. You have to be passionate. You have to be like an evangelist for that company, for the firearms industry, for that matter. You've got to really believe in the Second Amendment. Otherwise, it's not going to be fun.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. That's. Let me see. Richard Hughes gave us $2, by the way. He says, pool boy and extra large implant recovery spa.
That's his dream job.
Yeah. This. Okay.
Pool boy at.
Oh, is it supposed to be pool boy at?
A extra large implant recovery spa.
Okay, whatever. It's just being weird. Okay. Listen, my dream job, if I could get paid to do it, honestly, I always wanted to be a comedian. If I could be a stand-up comedian and get paid doing it, which I think I have the skills. I think I'm very funny. Lola does not think I'm funny, but I do actually think I'm pretty funny. So that would be awesome for me if I could just do that. Just go around the world being stand-up comedian. But I have a lot of fun doing what I'm doing here. I mean, I enjoy being creative, so I am making money and making a living being creative, so that's always a good thing. Let's see if we've got any. There's been a bunch of questions coming in here. I don't know if we've missed anything. You guys will have to come back up here again. Okay, do you guys want to switch over, maybe talk about some stuff going on in the news? Anything interest anyone out there? I know we had go ahead.
Well, for me, I know that I don't want to be the guy that beats the dead horse, but I don't want to forget about the suppressor issue. It came up, it was big 2 weeks ago, but it's just like the bump stocks. Everybody thought, oh, we haven't heard about it in a while. It's going to go by the wayside. And so one of the things that I wanted to talk about really was encouraging people to to understand what suppressors really do and how to obtain a suppressor, because there's a lot of gun industry people that are watching this podcast tonight, because obviously they have interest in freedom and guns. So I don't want it to be an educational session, but I will point out this. A lot of times I get asked by gun collectors, by firearms enthusiasts, because I do have a considerable amount of suppressors and other Class 3 items, and they're like, "Oh, do you have a Class 3 license?" And there's just a total misunderstanding of what it takes to purchase a suppressor. And so what I would like to encourage everybody is, one, no, it does. There's not if you're a Class 3 licensed federal firearms dealer, that's different. But as an individual, you can go out, you can purchase a suppressor as an individual. I also recommend, if you have multiple people in your family, to create a trust. It's not scary. And Silencer Shop now even has the kiosk system. It's great if you have members within your trust located out of the state, because you can obtain your passport photo, your fingerprints, everything. Every 2 years is all it takes. And you do that one time. And every time you purchase a new Class 3 item, they push a button, you pay the tax stamp, which is $200. It submits everything for you to the ATF, and you just wait. And usually the last suppressors that I bought, it was 13 months, unfortunately. And I've got a couple of machine guns right now that they're in purgatory. So no telling when they're going to be out. But, I also hear this other excuse. And these are avid sportsmen, right? So this is the only reason I'm bringing this up. These are guys that know guns. They're like, man, I just don't want to wait. I'm not waiting 12 months. But you know what? Those same people, like 2 years ago, were telling me that they didn't want to wait 12 months. And if they'd just gone out and done it, by now they'd have been enjoying it. And the thing is, why everybody also wants to know, why do you need a suppressor? Well, like for me, and not everybody uses them, I suppress everything.
That's
and
the way it should be. Everything should be suppressed.
So it's just easy. Like I wear Peltor contacts a lot. And, hearing protection is awesome. The reason I wear hearing protection still, even though everything's suppressed, is I like the electronic part of it, because when I'm hunting, it allows me to hear better than I can naturally. And I've got good hearing, but, it's crazy. I can hear stuff coming from way off. But I like the suppressors because, for one, it doesn't hurt my ears. But two, it helps encourage people that find firearms scary. The two biggest things that I hear is recoil. If I ask, let's say, a young shooter or a lady, do you like to shoot? Do you like guns? No, they scare me. Okay, well, why do they scare you? Typically, it's recoil and sound. Well, you can mitigate one of those. You actually can mitigate both of them, one by caliber choice, so choosing a caliber that doesn't have a lot of recoil, like the 300 Blackout I showed in the earlier part of the podcast. But the second thing is a suppressor. And, you can take a young shooter, and a 22 is great. That's one of the things that you mentioned. And you can put a suppressor on that. There's zero recoil and very, very quiet sound. Now, you have to educate them that, yes, this is a real firearm. Just because you don't hear the same boom and shocking sound doesn't mean that it's not effective. But it allows people that would normally be intimidated by a firearm to try it out and become accustomed and trained. So, that I don't want to get on a total soapbox, but we don't need to forget that that's a real threat that's still out there. And we want to keep that kind of spinning and keep bringing it up and show the support of the gun community and really the American community, because there again, I think it's a big introduction to people that aren't comfortable with firearms, to allow them to do it in a less intimidating environment. And it protects your neighbors. They don't have to hear all this, noise going on in the background. I can take that 300 Blackout with some subsonics and shoot a coyote at midnight. Doesn't bother anybody.
Yeah.
No, but it takes care of the problem. So I just wanted to kind of regenerate that, I guess, as a piece of news, because it's not really old enough news yet. So
no, I agree with you. I think that what we're facing with this stuff, and any of you guys could chime in here, is that they're kind of like trying to go after the things first based on the amount of people that are interested in it. So there's a lot of bump stocks out there, but most of us, aren't super interested in bump stocks if you know what they are. And that's what, like, we say it all the time. It's not the fact that it's the bump stock, it's the fact that they're going after things and picking things off. And then I think the thing with suppressors kind of falls into that category. In the gun community, there's not a huge percentage of the gun community that wants to get into suppressors because they feel like, okay, that's money. Then I have to do for the tax stamp, and then I have to wait. And then people think, there's lots of like urban myths about it, like, oh, then the government could just come in my house whenever they want to. It's registered. I don't want to register anything. There's all those things that happen. So there's lots of folks out there that think, well, I don't really care because that's not going to affect me. I don't want that. And I think that's too bad. It's too bad that happened with the bump stocks and people kind of like let that go. I'm not saying there are people out there who got mad about it and fighting for it and all that kind of stuff. And we're always running the danger of that with suppressors, machine guns, SBRs, and things like that. So,
well, and I think the one thing that the bump stock issue did, because, you nailed it on the head. I can't tell you how many people I talked to, and they're like, oh, I don't care about bump stocks. Well, me personally, I don't have one. But I do have registered machine guns. Not everybody can afford to make that investment. But, but the thing is about the bump stock that should be a critical point here is it made it real. With a stroke of a pen, it was gone. And everybody thought that couldn't be done. Well, it has to go through legislation, and, we're going to have some protection. It'll never pass the House and the Senate.
Yeah, you can write your senator or your congressman and tell them, no, don't vote for that.
Yeah, so that whole issue just subjugated the process. And, it literally was a signature and whoop, it was gone. Yeah. And, that really opens up a deep canyon that it could be suppressors next. And I don't even know what that could look like. No new suppressors, or do you have to turn in the suppressors you have? It just... who knows? And those are the fears, and we need to have united support of all of these issues, because you don't ever know when an issue will come by that you don't care about and it falls by the wayside, but it only takes the step up to the issue that you do care about. So it's better just to join as a group in the front end and stay strong and let people know that we do use these stuff and that, that's part of our American freedom, and it's a deterioration of the freedom and our constitutional rights. And every gun law to me is unconstitutional. I know that's debatable to some, but not to me. I believe strongly in the Constitution and the right to have and bear arms.
Yeah, I don't think it's not debatable to me. I don't know if it is to anyone here. You know what? Listen, the same thing that same stroke of the pen, that executive order to go after bump stocks can easily be used to go after suppressors. And so far as, we're all guessing what could happen, but if you want to make an educated guess, just look at what happened with bump stocks. Those are things that people bought legally. The ATF looked into it several times. It's fine. People bought it. They have possession of it. So if you have suppressors, it's very easy for them to go, listen, we think these are bad things. No one could have them, period. If you have them, they have to be turned in. They have to be destroyed. They can't exist, because that's basically what happened with the bump stock. And if they really see this as something that belongs to bad guys, then, you have to pay attention to it and keep that going. And it's going to be a creep. It's definitely going to go into other things. So I don't know if that's the line in the sand, though. I don't know I think everyone here has suppressors, right?
Yes.
Yeah. So if we come to that, is that a line in the sand for you guys where you go, you know what? Okay, I'll just give up my cans.
Well, they've already crossed the line in the sand, I think, with every new law and legislation. But it's also hard as an individual to say, no, I'm not going to comply with the law. That is the reality. I don't know where that line in the sand would be where we would all say, no matter what, we're not going to comply. Most likely if they outlawed suppressors, I would have to do something with mine. That they are registered. It's not like they don't know that I've got them or where they are. And, I do, I am former law enforcement. I am a constitutionalist, but I do obey the laws. So I think the biggest thing is not worry about where the line in the sand is and how we will have to react when it hits that. It's the fight on the front end and hope that that line doesn't continue to get moved.
Okay, very good. Does anyone want to jump in here?
Oh, no, I agree with that.
Yeah.
Yeah, completely.
Yeah.
And that's always the worrisome thing is they are registered and they do know you have them. You know.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yep.
they know where you are. And the funny thing is like, look, you can sound all badass if you want to, but when they show up at your house with your family and it's just you, you're gonna go, here you go, sir.
Yep. Sorry about that. Here you go.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, it's none of us want to be in that position if we're not like we need support. We need to support each other on that one. You know, if they show up and there's 1,000 guys out there on your side, and those 1,000 guys say no, that's a different story, right? And that's the thing. I mean, I'm not saying that any of us want to get to that state. It's gonna be a sad state of things for everyone. Someone sent me a video about like what if America actually like what if Americans, just a small, maybe not small percentage, but let's say 20-30% of Americans actually got mad about this stuff and decided, you know, that's it, we're going to do something about what's happening here. Things just that percentage could make things get really bad for everyone.
Yeah, but see, they're smart, and they're not doing that. They're individualizing pieces, and they're creeping the line. They know better than to jump, you know, head first in the deep end because they don't want that revolt. But you don't, as a nation, you don't feel the pain as they deteriorate it slowly. And this has been happening for some time, and there's less resistance to the status that would take our rights away. And that's their plan. They want to creep it.
Yeah. Well, what separates America from other places? So I think over the last, how long has that thing been going on in Hong Kong? Like 2 weeks?
Something like
It's
that.
longer than that.
Yeah.
I'm trying to think if it's, wait, did Cody freeze? I don't know. He's like, oh, okay.
Oh, he's good.
Oh, okay. Yeah. Oh, there he goes. Okay. Yeah. I think that's been going on for a couple of weeks. Just imagine what's happening in Hong Kong, right? Those guys don't have any kind of access. They don't have a Second Amendment, so far as I know. And see,
I was going to say, when you asked what separates us from other countries, it's the Constitution.
Yeah,
Hands down.
absolutely.
Yeah.
That's the answer.
Yeah. Think about the yellow vests in France.
Oh, they have nothing.
Yeah,
well,
but still,
wise, yeah.
but still, they're able to, you know, to create some attention and break some shit up, you know.
Well, and that's the thing, you know, like on the French issue, you know, I remember Trump talking very strongly, you know, about some of the instances that happened in concerts and talking about, you know, vulnerable people being fish in a barrel. And if, you know, a good guy had a firearm and they weren't restricted in France, they could defend themselves and it would have prevented all the numbers. But the thing is, we've heard that, and then we have the ongoing fear that, you know, actions are not exactly equating to previous talk. And so I think that we need to continue to be vocal. And I think, you know, if we had a voice big enough that Trump and some of the top leaders could hear, I do think it is what the most care about. It's what the majority cares about. And I think that's what happened with the bump stocks. I think it was viewed as an issue that nobody really cared. So, okay, we can do away with that and hopefully appease somebody, which I don't think there's any appeasement of those that want to take our rights. But, you know, that's another story.
Yeah.
I mean, if you look at the Bundy standoff a few years ago, I mean, that was prime example of what would happen if a group of individuals that were armed stood up, right? I mean, and that's really, I mean, no one talks about that anymore. That was a pretty big deal. I mean, they won the battle.
Yeah.
You know, it's funny though.
Stand there.
I don't know a ton about what they did, but if I were to just sit down and watch the news, I would think that they are the worst people on the planet for standing up for what they believe in.
Yeah, I mean, they were coming for land basically. So, and I mean, it was pretty crazy. Read into it because I remember when it happened, I was just kind of getting into the industry and I really didn't know a whole lot.
Right.
And I read into it quite a bit a few months ago. I was like, man, I don't know how this wasn't just like all over the media. I don't remember it being blasted out like that.
I mean, it made news, but yes, they didn't. I don't think they wanted to make it bigger than it was, but definitely there were guys who went down there, and when they realized who was down there, who those people were, and what they were capable of doing, they figured, yeah, we should probably leave this one.
Well, and in
You
the
know.
typical media fashion, they also.
I mean, they really like were kind of PC about it too, in the way they did. I mean, we're just standing out there and we're like, hey, no, it wasn't this big crazy, screaming and throwing stuff at
Right.
each other or anything
Yeah.
like that. Pretty civil when you look
Yeah.
at it from far away. So
Yeah, absolutely. There are guys in the gun community that are high profile that went down there. I don't think anyone was trying to get into anything necessarily because everyone knew where that was going. But everyone that went out there was definitely taking a risk. Because if something kicked off, then hey, it kicks off. Once that happens, it gets crazy. You were trying to get in there, Will, and say something. What was that?
Well, I was just saying, during that whole situation, that was the typical media spin. They tried to portray them as outlaws and rogues, and instead of them actually being in defense of their own land. And so that's, you can't always believe everything that or most of what the media puts out, about these situations.
Yeah. And I think in the end result, the cases, they won in the cases, but I think, isn't it when they try to arrest one of the sons, there was a shootout or something like that? I believe.
I don't recall.
Yeah, okay. Yeah, I don't have all that stuff in the front of my brain right now, so.
it's been a while.
Yeah. So there was an incident in Dallas. I don't necessarily want to get deep into it, but there was something that happened today. Let me see if I could throw this up here.
Oh, some shooting in Dallas.
Yeah. So here we go. Gunman opens fire on federal courthouse in Dallas. This is on the Truth About Guns. Earlier today in downtown Dallas, Texas, a 22-year-old man in a baklava and combat gear opened fire at the outside of a federal courthouse. It wasn't long before good guys with guns returned fire and end up killing the gunman. Thankfully, go ahead.
What's he in? What was he in?
Balaclava. Sorry,
balaclava.
Balaclava.
Not a baklava. It's a dessert.
I'm dyslexic. Okay, all right, fine.
He was carrying around mini desserts with him.
Yeah, that just sounds more My brain sees deliciousness.
Baklava.
This is what happens.
That's what I mean.
Deliciousness. So anyway, this guy didn't get far. Sorry. Go ahead.
Well, and I'll make a wager that it's not going to be on national news tonight as far as the good guy, because that. All right, so you can go to any city. If you look at the violent crimes across America and you annualize that, just about every day somewhere there's a violent crime. Firearms are not firearms related. And that's just because we have 300 million people in the United States, and there's a percentage of them that's crazy, and other ones that are just plain criminals. But I guarantee you that it won't be sensationalized on the national news because the good guy won in the end. Typically, it's the one that fits the agenda. It's the gun-carrying person that harms innocent people. Now we need to create new gun legislation, and the same old rhetoric that we keep hearing.
Yeah. Thanks to everyone making fun of me. Baklava would actually be nice right now.
Cake eater.
You know what? I know that they were trying to. I'm not sure what's going to happen in the evening news. I know they were trying to paint this guy as a right-wing neo-Nazi kind of guy, pulling up stuff on social media and all that. I think they're lumping circles together here. Like you could be neo-Nazi. I don't know. But they label everyone's being right-wing or alt-right or whatever nowadays. Yeah. What were you going to say, Patrick?
Have they released who he was? Have people been looking into his background already?
Probably. That's probably out there.
Okay. I haven't been keeping up with it.
Yeah. He didn't get that far. So that's the good thing. Here's another thing I thought was interesting that happened in the news that we could throw up here really quick. So this is, I guess the Supreme Court is making some decisions. I think they have about 2 weeks left, and then I can't believe these guys, man. They have all the power and everything, and they have a very short time period in which they work and do stuff. But they've got a couple of weeks, so they're making some decisions. It says Supreme Court orders Oregon to reconsider gay wedding cake case. So I think
what?
Yeah, because I think in the end, right, in this whole, so the Supreme Court ordered Oregon to take another look at the case where state officials fined a couple $135,000 for refusing to bake a wedding cake for a lesbian couple.
They won their case at the Supreme Court level, though, didn't they?
No. I think that they won on some level, and then that got flipped over, and now the Supreme Court is saying no, you're going to have to take another look at this. You can't force these people to make a cake, basically, here. So.
Oh, okay. So they're telling them to go in the direction of freedom, not in the direction of you must bake a cake for whoever.
Yeah. These cases get flipped a lot. So, sometimes you just hear like, oh, they're trying to force these guys to make the cake. Then they go to court and they're like, no, they can't force you. Then some other court comes in and says, no, you got to make the cake.
I
just want to eat the cake.
Yeah.
I'm a strong...
Okay,
the baklava, too, yeah. I'm a fairly strong believer in the capitalistic market sense that if somebody let people do whatever they want, and I can guarantee the market will correct itself. If people don't like what somebody's doing enough, they'll go out of business. That's just the way it is.
Yeah. So last year, it says here that last year Supreme Court. So you're probably thinking that there was another case. So what's happening
is this a different one?
Yeah, people are trying to forward these cases as much as possible. So it says last year the Supreme Court took on a similar case coming out of Colorado. Called Masterpiece Cake Shop versus Colorado Civil Rights Commission. The court ruled 7-2.
I think this is the one I was thinking of.
Yeah, they ruled 7-2 in favor of bakery owner Jack Phillips. So that's probably why they kicked this back down, and so that's kind of like a victory, saying like, hey, the Supreme Court is going to keep kicking these back down because you can't force someone to make a cake.
Yep.
So there you go. Any comments from you guys on this?
I don't really have a lot to say on it. My thing is in support of our freedom and rights. Well, I want to support everyone's right until it infringes on somebody else's rights. And I think that's where you have to draw the line. And it doesn't matter what the issue is. It's just my feelings.
Yeah, true. Absolutely. I agree with you. And I think if people want to make cakes or do whatever they want to do, that's fine. But trying to force someone else to make a cake for you why do you want to deal with people who don't like you anyway?
That's the thing that I don't understand. If they don't like you, just don't deal with them. And like I said, if the market around that area is against them enough, nobody will shop there. They'll go out of business. That's the way that works.
Right.
Well, it happens on most retail levels. So if I went in a gun store and the clerk treated me like trash or whatever, and so I'd say okay, smile and walk down the street and buy the same gun.
Yeah, give your money
somewhere else.
I got my business.
It's almost to me like, so here's something that we're going through in the gun community, and probably all of you guys have seen it or are going to see it. Social media doesn't like us, right?
No.
They don't want us promoting stuff, Cody, you're from Walther. I'm sure you guys get blocked, rejected. You can't advertise, all of that. So, and then people, there's always this argument out there that they should be declared utilities, basically, which maybe they should. But I always think it's better for us to create our own ecosystems. That's the way that we should do this. Why let these guys get the money from us anyway? We should figure out a way to have our own platforms and be able to take care of ourselves and generate our own marketing and interests and conversations inside of our own communities. And I'm not saying that they should be able to kick us out either, but we should figure out a way where, stays inside the circle.
You've got that out there, Gun Streamer, Full 30. The platforms that are, that is social media. It's video social media. It may not be, a direct replication of Instagram or Facebook. But, the real challenge is getting the monetization because, so many YouTube channel creators have worked so hard to build such a following that, there's ways to monetize and get participants so that they can advertise and gain revenue. And they do that. And the more they're compensated for doing that, the more motivation they have to continue putting out content, spending all their time. And it's making that jump from these platforms that are out there to get the monetization, the funds to come in so that they're able to monetize the people on their platform. So then at that point, those same people can tell YouTube, hey, see you. I've got a different route to go. So it's a big challenge. And I don't know. I guess YouTube pulls from the billions, and all the subscribers that cake bakers and farmers and whoever, how to tie your shoes and, all of this money coming in from all other industries that helps or has in the past helped fund the gun industry, but it's hard to do that on a sole industry platform. It'd be wonderful.
Yeah.
Really the main problem about, and I mean, we've looked at this, and constantly have people calling me trying to sell me on a new platform, and really when you look at that problem is, if it is a concentrated supply of gun people, I can talk to you anytime I want, because you're the person following our page, you're the person, checking in our email, our newsletter, looking at our website, reading the magazines, doing all that stuff. What social media gives you is all the new people, right? The new customers that you're trying to generate that don't really know what they're looking for, don't know what type of gun to buy, because that's where a lot of your sales come. And if you take that platform away, because I can guarantee you, my dad or my little brother and stuff like that, they're not super big gun people. They buy a lot of guns, but they're not following, Guns and Ammo or NRA or any of these, Instagram influencers or any of that stuff. They go about their daily lives and their hobbies that they like, and they get influenced in different ways, but they're constantly on Facebook and YouTube. And what they're doing is they're just limiting us getting our product in front of people. And if they don't know about you, they're not going to buy it. And that's the big part. And that's why you're going to see a lot of other companies. And that's why you see like a company like us, Walther, even though we're very old brand, but we're still a very small percentage of the market share. A lot of people go to a gun store and they're like, well, I'm going to buy Glock, because guess what? That's what they see in
marketing. Yes.
Right. I mean, they really don't do much marketing when you look at it all. They don't attend.
Well, we're all marketing for them, whether we like it or not, right? It's kind of like self-generating marketing.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So that's what takes away, and I think that's the real annoying part of it. Because when I look at social media and how it influences, businesses have to rely on that nowadays. And if you don't have social media and you're a new business, you're probably not going to do too well, especially with the younger generation, which we know, like gun buyers, the majority of the demographic buying a lot of guns is going to be about 45 or 50 years and older. That demographic buys the majority of guns right now. So you have to prep the younger generation as they become, have a little bit more money in their pocket to kind of buy more than just one gun, right?
Yeah.
But they're doing all their consumption of media through channels that you can't market them to them. So it proves to be kind of difficult when you get into that. So
everyone needs growth, right? The only way to get growth is you have to get new eyeballs, new ears to listen to what your pitch is. Go ahead, Will.
Well, and one of the big influence to the general public is military and law enforcement. Just because whatever the military adopts, that's the latest, greatest, best thing. And, the FBI just switched to.
Yeah, it's like NASCAR.
Yeah. So it's like instant. And that I think that had a lot of the traction for Glock in the early and mid 80s when, a lot of law enforcement agencies switched to Glock. That's what I carried when I was in law enforcement. And I think, all of that just kind of feeds the general public as a standard. Well, it must be the best.
Yeah, it does. You're seeing the public kind of veer away from that. It was back in the 80s when Glock, because they bought all their contracts, right? They went in, they bought all the department's guns. They basically gave them new holsters, new guns, everything. So departments couldn't turn it down. They bought that in the beginning. But you look at it now, and we're getting contracts here in the United States, and we're carried all the way around the world. But now that we have U.S. facilities, we have a new law enforcement division that's going out there, and you start looking at a lot of these contracts, and it's really getting where it's getting outside the box. We're getting contracts. You look at CZ, you look at all these other like different brands that's never been able to get contracts here in the United States because of Glock. They're starting to branch out a lot more, and so you're seeing things. And when you look at like FBI and stuff like that, you'll look at these contracts, and they're really kind of tailor made from the beginning to a specific gun. It gets kind of annoying when you get into all that stuff. But yeah, with SIG getting the Army contract, that's definitely going to help. You look at the 320, and it's a good gun.
Well, till they started dropping it.
Yeah.
Yeah. See,
every company goes through that. And
yeah, but quality assurance. I see this over and over again. Not to single sig out, but they do have a tendency to release guns prematurely. The P365 having the striker issues, the 320 having the drop issues, unreliability issues with the MCX, and
yeah, and you look at it's really I would push a lot towards the market right now, and that's something I think
it's very competitive. Yeah.
Yeah, if you look at over the last 3 years, and it's something we keep getting tied up in, a lot of the suppressors and stuff like that, and then we're watching our industry just track down. And you look at a lot of the stocks of a lot of our big companies like Smith & Wesson and stuff, and they're just trending downward. No one's really paying attention to that because we keep driving the price on everything down because consumers aren't buying stuff.
Political environment.
Yeah, they're not scared they're going to lose. They're not buying stuff. And so you look at prices of guns, and they have just almost tanked. And they just keep going down. And the summertime is the slow season for gun sales, and it's probably going to go down more. So you're watching that, and that's something that's easily fixed within the industry, So, but, it's just one of those things, and companies got to fight through it. And when you look at what they do, and the 365, they had some issues coming out of the gate, but you look at it now, they're probably their top seller right now, and that's what you go into gun stores and ask what's selling, they're going to say 365. So we get caught up in those little things, and it's really 0.5% of the gun buying community that actually even cares about that. The other 99.5% of the people are going into gun stores, and they don't even hear that stuff, until it happens to them. So it gets a little blown up because we're so just like die hard into it, and we see it all the time on Instagram, Facebook, and average.
That's the thing about the bigger pool that you're talking about. I mean, first of all, before we even get into that, like I do think that Glock does a lot of advertising still. I mean, they had Gunny, now they've replaced him with Chuck Norris. There's other things. You see them in magazines, you see them doing sponsoring lots of competitions and things like that. You've still got to stay present in people's mind somehow, right? Because that's really what a lot of this is. When you buy something, it's built on desire, like we were talking about John Wick at the beginning of this. And I think, I think John Wick's still using. There's still lots of Glocks in the movies, but that's what they started out using, modified, but that's where it starts. So other than you're the guy that just goes, okay, I just need this one gun, that's it, I'm good after that. The other gun guys out there are like, oh, I really want to get this, I gotta have one of these. So that's part of the whole issue, and I think lots of people are still advertising. But to come back around to what's happening with social media, Cody, how much do you guys think about this? What do you think about the future of this if you have Facebook? I mean, we were talking about Lola with Crowder. He's not going to be the only one they come down on. Like, what's the plan for you guys if they start coming down on you and going, listen, you have no place on our platform?
Yeah, well, that's something we prepare every day, and there's some really down-home style of just building your newsletter email list, your email contact list, because that's direct to consumer. You can talk to them. That's been a big push for mine, just to have in my back pocket just in case that happens, because you can see it trending on Facebook. Just the amount of people liking our page is starting to trend downwards. Instagram's going up. YouTube stays kind of level. Twitter's actually kind of big. So you see it, but we all know it's probably coming one day, unless honestly it's kind of weird, but unless the government steps in and does something to these private companies, which I really don't see that happening. So it's their company, so they can kind of do with it as they see fit. But I think we really do need to look into some different platforms. But it's really, trying to access that new buyer is going to be tough. Like I said, I think if we get on one of these, gun specific type social media platforms, we can all talk to each other and do all that. But I still think in the grand scheme of things, that is a very small percentage of the people actually buying guns out there. And so when you look at from a manufacturer standpoint, they're going to be interested, they're going to do, and they're going to help support the community and stuff like that. But it's not going to be have a good return on investment if they're dumping a lot of money into it and they're just advertising to the same person over and over, and it's not growing to the amount that their like our Instagram page is growing. So it's always going to come back to what's going to give you your best return on your investment. So
let's do a round robin thing here, starting with Babyface again. Babyface, do you think that the social media platforms should be declared utilities?
I don't know.
You're fighting. I could see the internal struggle. What you believe is fighting against.
No, it's because I inherently don't believe in more government, but on the same side, it's so hard to decide how I feel about it, because I don't think that they should be censoring anybody unless you're calling for violence against others. That's the only, because anything that's outside of legalities, you shouldn't censor people, and that includes horrible hate things going on. Like, let them talk, to bring it to the light of day, and people will.
Yeah, that's how we know who's who, right? We know,
people will
where
look
these
at it and
people
go, "Screw that! I don't want any part of that."
Mm-hmm.
But after a certain extent, they're so large. It's basically impossible to compete in that market. So I'm really torn on it. I'm really not sure how I feel about it, to be honest.
Okay. What about you? Well, what do you think?
Well, as much, I'm one of the unique people that, when I scroll through my Instagram or Facebook, man, I'm looking for firearms deals. I'm seeing what's the hot product. So, I'm not the average citizen as far as social media is concerned, but I have to lean back as much as I hate it, because I've become close friends with a lot of people in the gun industry, and I see the demonetization of YouTube content, and the algorithms. If you have a gun in an Instagram post, they're not given as much space and much feed through. But to me, I think it's still, we can't pick and choose what our rights are, and I think, having government interaction with that is kind of like making somebody bake the cake. And I don't agree with it, but I don't think that I would like government coming into a company and dictating what they have to do.
Okay. All right. And then what about you, Cody?
I kind of go back and forth. I'm a capitalist, so I really want them to be able to
Mm-hmm.
use their company to make their money. But what bothers me, if they're going to be a platform and they come to companies and they're like, hey, if you pay us, we will get your stuff out to millions of people, just like TV channels, just like anything else. I think they need to be put in a different category, because if you start seeing, TV start to disappear, magazines start to disappear, and it's the sole purpose or the sole way to actually advertise and get your product or things like that out to people, then I think there does need to be some regulations on that, just like there are with TV, with FCC and things like that. So if it's a hosting platform and they're advertising themselves and telling people that, hey, we're a hosting platform, we'll take your money to let you advertise on this, you've got to step back and have some actual guidelines there, because it's going to fluctuate. And just people's personal opinions are going to fluctuate. Every generation, it's going to change. And if they don't step in and do something right here in the beginning, it's going to go up and down nonstop. Like I said, if they come out like Facebook, I think they've came out and they're like, hey, we're a social platform between families and all this. We want to stop so much of the spam ads and all that. Okay, if you're going to designate yourself as that, then do it. But YouTube, on the other hand, is like, hey, we're a hosting platform. We're going to pay you for the content that you generate and for the viewership that you get. We're going to let companies pay us to advertise. That's a hosting platform. That's a complete different ballgame.
Yeah, so I think there's so Mac was on here last week. We don't do it every week, but we're doing this live with Mac thing. He brought up a point that I think makes a lot of sense. A lot of these platforms got exemptions from being sued by the government. They got special protections for people suing them. Okay, they are pretty much utilities. If you don't have any, so there's nothing that's really going to replace Facebook at this point. There's nothing that's going to replace YouTube at this point. I'm an advocate for us having our own things. Okay, but nothing's going to replace those guys. So the question of whether or not they're utilities, I think there's no question. It's definitely a utility. It's a utility if I move into a neighborhood and the neighborhood says, you know what, we're not giving you electricity. but we'll give electricity to other people, that's a utility denying me a service. And I think it's the same thing with Facebook and YouTube and those big monolithic platforms. And so when they deny people access to talk to an audience about something, especially when it's legal, when it's covered by the Constitution, then you have an issue there, even though we don't want the government to have to come in and make laws and regulate it and tell them what to do. So then they're getting away. They're like, using our own beliefs to beat the crap out of us, and then we're losing our voice.
All they have to do is follow the Constitution. The First Amendment, Second Amendment, things like that. When you look at it, there's already laws that go against, crying wolf and hate speech and race, all that stuff is already regulated through the Constitution. There's laws against that stuff. All you gotta do is abide by those, and just follow that. That means gun control is not a debate on there. Speak freely, but you can't call out violence or any of that because that's regulated by law. It's a pretty simple thing, and they just tend to look right past that.
Yeah. And then think about this. There's other denials of service. So there's people in the firearms industry that are being denied banking.
Yep.
So then what do you do? If people keep denying you these things, if people are like, yeah, okay, you're a legal business, but we're not going to let you open a shop here. We're not going to let you have a factory here. We're not going to let you do banking. You can't have a payroll or whatever. Then they can pretty much put you out of business. And so at some point, there's no point to a government if we're not going to use them for something. I believe in small government
that's
myself.
Discrimination. Discrimination can take any type of form. And, it's discrimination against firearms industry enthusiasts and companies. And I definitely would echo that it's a straight out violation of freedom of speech. So, then when you become a constitutional issue, then it's completely different than a business choosing to serve or not serve the public. Because, as the conversation developed, I was thinking to myself, really they're a utility and they're more of a media outlet. If anything, they just don't have the direct input. You guys as content creators are the media agents, for instance, and they're denying your freedom of speech because you don't agree with their program or agenda. So
yeah, they're more like bandwidth. I mean, this is kind of like Patrick's wheelhouse, but I think like YouTube and Facebook is more like bandwidth. Am I wrong there, Patrick?
So you see them as...
I see them as like bandwidth, like they're, somewhat with what Will is saying. We create the content or we make the statements, and
you're just providing the wires to get the content from their server to the audience.
Right. Yeah. Everyone's not going to see our stuff, like on YouTube or Facebook. Lola puts up stuff on Facebook. I don't even see it. And we're married, and we're married on Facebook. But I don't automatically see it because she puts it up, right? So the thing is that there's people following me. Maybe it knows that these are the people who follow her, that kind of thing's going on. Same thing on YouTube. You don't automatically see my stuff on YouTube. If you're a gun guy and you look at this kind of content, it shows it to you. But now YouTube is going further and saying when they demonetize things, Lola was just telling me before we started the show, they went through and found like 9 or 10 videos that they've already looked at that they re-put back up to be like where I have
monetized?
Yeah. So they're like, yeah, this content is questionable. We're demonetizing it, and you have to put this, if you want to, you could put this in for review. So everything there has already gone through that, and they're just going, yeah, we're going to do that now. So every time they do that, they're suppressing my audience more and more and more. So it's not me. I can still put up videos, but the people coming in there, they're not suggesting, hey, you might want to see this. Go ahead.
Well, and it's the other social media platforms, Facebook and Instagram. When you're running a business, they dictate. All right, not only do their algorithms close that viewership, like you're speaking of on YouTube, but if you say, all right, well, I'm willing to pay to promote this, and you try and create an ad and you try and increase your viewership, you just get a message back, sorry, we're unable to promote this, it didn't follow the proper guidelines, blah blah blah. So they're directly censoring what they allow and what they don't, and it has nothing to do with violent content or anything that would be offensive to the general public. So it goes pretty deep on all the platforms.
Yeah, absolutely. Okay, let me just get Red Bear has a comment in here. He says, I don't remember ever voting for any of these technocrats, but I have bad memory.
Yeah, it's such a weird delicate thing, which is why it hasn't been regulated or done away with. But they definitely, I don't feel like any one company should be the arbiter of morality or the arbiter of what can and can't be said. Like Facebook, YouTube, Twitter, any of those, they shouldn't be able to tell you what can and can't be said on their platform, in the sense that, I don't know. I'm kind of just going on a tangent. It's really hard for me to decide how I feel about it.
Yeah, I think you're right there. Look, we already know we've got a representative here of the industry in Cody. But okay, so the firearms industry, they can do radio. I don't hear them a lot on radio. So in terms of advertising,
so local talk radio, I hear a bunch of it.
Local, yeah.
But music radio, no.
Yeah. Now TV. Can you guys do TV in terms of, can you buy an ad at the Super Bowl? Because I think Daniel Defense tried that one.
Yeah. I don't. Are you
money to do that for one? But
yeah.
Are firearms specifically prohibited for some reason, or do they just say no, we're not selling to you, that sort of thing?
Yeah, I'm not sure on that end.
With Daniel Defense, they said no for the Super Bowl. Daniel Defense actually made a commercial, had the money, they were willing to do it, and then they said no.
Because there's special restrictions around like alcohol and tobacco advertising. So I don't know how firearms would fit into that.
Yeah.
I don't know, man. I see a lot of Modelo commercials.
Yeah, but like they can't
That's
drink
true.
can't drink a beer on TV though. Like,
Right.
You notice that? Yeah.
It's always sitting in front of them.
Yeah.
Caffeine music lover says Babyface P is being wishy-washy. It's just that it's not. There are so many things in my life that I feel very strongly about, and you guys know that like I am very staunch in one direction. This is such a tough thing to navigate because part of me is very much a open market free business type, and to me that means no government intervention. But then on the other side, you have corporations that are totally running amok, and they decide that their left-leaning ideology is what needs to be, and anything that's to the right of that just needs to be banned outright. So it's kind of it's a tough situation.
Yeah.
Where people get confused though is this: none of us know what the actual freaking guidelines are.
Yeah,
so
see, that's a major issue.
They go back through videos that were once completely fine, and now all of a sudden they're like, "Hey, these are wrong." After they've been showing them for 2 or 3 years with ads running on them, and now they're like, "Oh no."
They have no concept of grandfathering. That's not a thing to them.
It's not a guideline. That way people can actually abide by them, you know?
Yeah. Well,
See, that bump stock issue is a lot bigger than we thought.
Yeah. Well, the guidelines are moving. And here's the thing. Look, we can have our own platforms, but then we need servers for that.
Uh-huh.
You know, you need some kind of, access to the actual internet and all that kind of stuff to connect to those. So I think that's the problem that we're always facing. Like there may be, right now Amazon is the big player in that, Google, right? And they could come in and go, if there's a platform out there, like let's say Gunstreamer, for example, and they're using Amazon, and they come in and go, listen, you guys are getting a lot of gun stuff going on here. We're not going to allow you to do this anymore. You know?
That's what's happening with sites like 4chan and 8chan. And I know that for anybody out there that doesn't know what they are very, very fringe websites. So they are very typically on the right, very, very far right, 8chan especially. But people have given up going after the owners of the sites themselves, because obviously if you run a site like that, you don't care the crap that goes on there to a certain extent. And they're now just going after the hosting providers and saying, hey, you are the hosting provider for 4chan. We don't like that. You should stop providing for them. And it's 8chan has gotten pulled down a couple times. 4chan has gotten pulled down a couple times. And they keep having to find hosting providers that are willing to allow them the freedom to run their website, which is the one thing that I was going to piggyback on your thought, though, Hank. The idea of segregation is scary to me, in that we are segregating ourselves away from the rest of the population, saying like, oh, this is our, you're not going to play fair with us, so we're going to make our own websites, which to an extent is a good idea. I mean, you definitely need you definitely need to have backups for everything. So,
Well,
like,
and
I think having sorry, go ahead.
Well, and Cody provided an excellent point, from an industry perspective that, on YouTube, the benefit to them is a diverse audience. So me, if I go to, say, Full 30 and I want to watch a Mr. Guns and Gear video on how to clean and lubricate my AR, that means I probably already have an AR and I need to watch that, but that's not getting to that average Joe out there or want to watch, Hank Strange or Babyface P or I know you guys, so I go and seek that out specifically to grow and strengthen the industry. You've got to have that pull of the masses.
Yeah, well,
and
even for
it's
Walther,
hard to do that segregating.
Yeah, even for, let's say, a company like Walther, you need to be able to put out stuff like, hey, this is how you use our product, or this is how you can correct this problem, or this is how to properly, clean or service this pistol, right? And if those are bad things and you can't show that, now you got a big problem now. And there's companies, Spikes has been kicked off completely before. So has Barnauls and other companies. This is the kind of thing that we're facing. And let's say we allow them to get away with that, and the company's like, well, we've got our website. At some point, someone's going to come along, like Patrick is saying.
Go after the DNS host or server host and say, no, we don't like them. You need to bring this down.
Yeah, why do they have a website?
Came along and was like, no.
Yeah.
Yeah. But it's...
Well, you hope that last line of defense is willing to stand up and say, no, we're not going to take down a service just because you don't like it.
Yeah, but you look at Shopify and they pulled down everything.
They pulled down everybody. They just went overnight, said you're no longer making money,
Exactly.
which is scary.
Yeah.
At the time, I was working for a company, and we used Big Commerce. And Big Commerce called us that next morning, and they were like, don't worry, we have no plans of that. But
they're pretty good.
It was a scary thing that overnight they just said, yeah, we're just going to pull the rug out from under all you guys.
Yeah. But if companies could get pressure, there's nothing saying that Big Commerce could get pressure from other companies getting together and going, hey, if you do business with this segment of the population or of an industry, then we're not going to do business with you, so you're going to have to make a choice.
So I've run this through my mind for a second now that I've thought about it, and I think the self-segregation is not the right way to think about it. I think it's more of we need to have companies that are willing to stand up for freedom. I think that is the way to put it for my brain. Not to say that, oh, we're a gun company or we're banking for gun companies. More of we're willing to bank for freedom. You can do what you want to do as long as it's within the boundaries of the law. We're not gonna stop you. I think that, to me, there need to be more companies out there because Bank of America doesn't want to credit card processing companies don't want to deal with gun companies, things like that. So no, I think that if I phrase it that way to myself, that makes more sense. There need to be freedom loving companies, which, God, so many of them are bending to the pressures of the left and the SJWs.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, absolutely. Let me get a quick. I'm sorry, Cody. Did you want to throw something in here?
Go ahead. Go ahead, man.
Let's see.
There was a Walther comment that came through from Real Cujo 10 minutes ago.
Right. Let me get to that one since Real Cujo is real awesome to us. He says, I don't know if I remember correctly, but wasn't Walther coming out with a 22 AR with adjustable gas system? Sorry if I didn't remember correctly.
No, that was the Hammerly. That's a sister company of ours that's owned by the same group. So, yeah, that's the Hammerly TAC R1. Awesome gun. Definitely go take a look at that gun if you got to check. I got a second. So
yes, I have a video from
you have a video.
NRA.
Check it out for sure if you want to see
my video.
Something.
I don't know if it's monetized or not, but
probably not.
Yeah, right. Probably.
It's all good. It's all good.
Hey, did we previously talk about the Project Veritas thing that came out last week about what's the name of that website? Pinterest specifically banning shadow banning certain groups and ideas. Have we talked about that at all?
No, I don't think we did. I did see something on the wire about it. Do you want to explain it real quick?
Yeah, so I think it was early last week, if not the week before, Project Veritas came out with a video from an insider that worked at Pinterest saying that certain websites were getting added to block lists, pin block lists, and other things that weren't associated with that block list. So the block list was a porn block list, and Pinterest has a manually updated list of sites that you can't create pins around. And typically, I mean, it's a porn list. It's supposed to be about porn. They started adding, well, the one that they caught was a conservative, it was a pro-life website. And unfortunately, I can't remember the name of it, but it was a pro-life website that was added manually by somebody to this block list. And they considered it a porn site. Just how basically it came out that they were trying to, they are actively censoring certain websites, certain ideologies. The other part of that was they do they have another section that does the autocomplete. So they put certain things in the autocomplete where it will block from autocompleting. And excuse me, and Christian was one of those. So if you looked up any sort of like Bible verse or Christian anything, it would basically refuse to autocomplete those to what popular searches would be, like Bible verses. So it was one of those that I think we've all kind of known this is happening or believed that this is the way it was. But they had actual physical proof of like chat logs and comments made, commits made to like the changes of the code, showing that these things were put in place to block certain ideas in certain positions.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. That's
so,
what,
I mean,
what do you guys think
along
about that? Yeah, it's kind of in the same thing of what we were talking about here, I think.
Doesn't surprise me.
Yeah.
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 Yeah, same situation, different issue, but it's all the underlying, rights, freedom of speech. It's just the different platforms, and it goes back to whether they're going to be deemed a utility or censored or whatever.
Someone has to enforce the freedoms here because the companies are set on having a say in what happens, right? This is we've got election time coming up, but they've been doing this now for years.
See, and that's the scary thing is a lot of people are predicting, quote, a stolen election because the tech industries are just going to block what they don't like. Mm-hmm. Any story about Trump that's positive, they're just going to make sure that gets devalued on the charts and it goes way down in the search results. Mm-hmm. And that's easy. It's not like it's hard to do something like that, especially when you have access to their code base.
It's just people in the companies. It's just like how sometimes there's bad cops out there, right? It's human beings are police officers. For the most part, it's something that people do because they want to help and whatever. But there's some people that are just bad actors, and they do this stuff. Well, at these companies, there's a lot of bad actors.
That's the scary thing.
Yeah. So when they sit around and they go, hey, we could do this, we could do that, we could go in here and kill this channel off, block this channel or whatever. This is really what we're going to be facing. And at some point we have to figure out. This is why I'm of both minds with all of this stuff. I don't want to come off YouTube or Facebook or anything else. I want to be there. But at the same time, I want to have something else where I'm talking to the core group of people who think and believe the way that we do, because we're talking tens of millions of people, mm-hmm. And definitely enough to to affect elections, if not on a national scale, definitely on a local scale, right?
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, but that's the challenge, because you can take the largest YouTube channels, probably 5-6 million followers for that channel, and the same content being put over on one of the other platforms. I mean, it's just pennies on the dollar, as far as followership is concerned, and it's just extremely hard to do that. So, I mean, I would love to see it. I would love to be able to be independent. And I'm not even a content creator, but I do love it. Like I probably watch, some of the gun industry news and, how-to videos more than I watch TV. So mm-hmm. I love to see it continue.
Yeah, you're a very important part of that equation, though. That's the thing I keep telling people. So you can make all the content you want to and put all the stuff up there you want to. There has to be people in the audience out there. We need the people out there that are listening to it. I think it's just that this is why I agree with what Cody was saying. And whenever we have this conversation, first thing that comes up, you need like a bigger pool. You always have to be able to expand that, because it's the same thing with vote. Once we get people to understand what we're talking about, those people can make up their own minds and realize like, oh, yeah, there's something wrong going on here. Why are they trying to do this?
So 2 quick things for me.
Sure.
Somebody, who was it in the chat that just told me this? Will H.
Mm-hmm.
I looked this up. There is an actual San Francisco poop app called Snap Crap, which is to show where homeless people are pooping on the street in San Francisco, so somebody can come clean it up. That's disgusting. Secondly, Harry's Holsters is asking, is there going to be any sort of where was it? Walther competition for the P365. Are you guys working on something similar?
We're always working on stuff. The issue where it comes into play there is importing it in. You can't import a gun that small. So we have to build it here in the U.S. and we literally just are getting up and going on manufacturing with the PPKS, and we're very far back ordered on that.
What guns are you guys making stateside?
Just PPK and PPKS.
Okay,
yeah.
Cool.
So the little James Bond gun. So those just
so I'm sorry. Just tell us about the size restriction.
It's like a point system, isn't it?
What's the deal with that?
The weird point system. It's tough to actually navigate it. A little above my pay grade, but I mean, if you look at some of our guns, and I can't remember when the actually act was, but that's why you looked at the PPK has to be built here in the United States because it actually is too small to actually import in. But you look at our guns like the PPQ as a windage adjustable sight because that gets some extra points.
That's so insane.
Like that, but yeah, that's why our PPS and CCP. That's about the biggest or the smallest gun that you can get into the States.
Okay.
But it does drive a lot of business for manufacturers to build plants here in the States. You look at Glock with their 43, and you look at Sig Sauer moving over here. CZ just moved down the road from us to Little Rock. They're building a huge facility there. So it does drive a lot of business and manufacturing here to the United States. But yeah, I mean, we definitely want to create innovative stuff. But the thing about Walther, what I love is we're not gonna copy anybody. We're gonna develop new things that are innovative. So we're not gonna come out with some knockoff P365. And you see a lot of that when the 43 came out. There's like 5 different.
You're not going to be Mossberg?
Yeah. Just don't make that smart gun that was in that James Bond movie.
Yeah, for sure not.
Yeah, don't actually try to make that.
That's actually refreshing to hear because, you hear innovation all the way around. And some company says, yeah, we're releasing a new carbine or new whatever. And it's like, yeah, it's the same AR that everybody else produces and rebranded. So
if you look at this gun, the steel frame PPQ and a striker fired gun, and it was so funny when we were at SHOT Show, we had, representatives from other manufacturers coming up to us, and they're like, man, how the heck did y'all do that? I mean, why did y'all do that? And I was like, man, it's freaking cool.
Yeah, that's the only reason you need.
You want to be the cool kid on the block.
Yeah.
And I mean, it has dominated coverage this year for us and has done really well. The market was really asking for that. And, it's a steel frame striker fired gun, and you don't think of too much innovation out of that because I mean there's been steel frame striker fired guns for a long time. I mean our first gun, the Model 1, was steel frame striker fired. But what it's done to the industry is just kind of proved what the market was looking for, and you see the market trending was who could make the cheapest gun and just basically getting that price down. We kind of went the opposite direction because we realized who we were and what we are. We wanted to make a high performance gun and get back to that original quality of what we're really known for. And so we took a shot with it, and we released a $1,600 striker fired gun, and it has really taken off. I mean, we've had a lot of different people, including, you look at Larry Vickers has picked it up and fallen in love with it. And people that's never really dealt with us before in the past have really just fallen in love with that gun. So it kind of showed us, if you're a gun guy and you're in this industry, and, we've all laughed at new guns that have came out, there's these big product releases and it's like a different color. Or something like that. So you gotta do something that people are gonna want. But people are gonna chase numbers. That's what it is, and that's why you see these really cheap guns come out that copy a lot of other manufacturers. And we've had it. I mean, you look at how many knockoffs of the P99 and the PPQ there are out there. I mean, there's tons of them. I can't keep track of them anymore. And I don't know why we're so small. I'm like, you would have picked a gun with a little bigger market share, but you know, it's like that. So we kind of want to stand back and be the performance leader in our industry and keep pushing towards that. And we've done that throughout history. So I mean, we're not new to that at all. So we're glad to be getting back on that track and not have to play that numbers game of just, you know, trying to sell a bunch of guns. We want to sell really good guns that are high performance and actually make money. So
okay, cool. Now I'm gonna go to some quick Gorn here for everyone out there. Can we get some like thumbs ups from the people? We've got like over 100 people watching us right now. Let's get those thumbs ups. And then I want to ask a quick question of Cody. It was in the news that someone stole a gun from NRA. Is that guy locked up yet, or what? What's the deal?
he is. They actually caught him and returned the gun to us too. So.
Oh, nice. Okay.
Cool.
So he got identified.
He did.
Yeah.
He got identified.
Don't try to steal guns from anywhere, especially not gun shows where there's a cajillion cameras on you.
It drives me crazy too. Because like me personally was standing like 3 foot from him talking to a customer. Drives me nuts.
I was looking. Yeah, I could see you guys, and when I was looking, I was like, oh yeah. I was looking to see me really in the video. I was like, man, come on. How come because I was over there. I guess I just didn't hang out in the booth long enough, you know, to get in the video. All right, let's show some Gorn here for the 400 episode. Who's got the Gorn ready? Who's got it? Will? Okay, Will's got it. Let's start with Will. What you got?
Nothing to see here, just suppressor host. Pay no attention to the Glock, so sorry. But...
yeah, Glocked out. Cross Glocks right there.
I haven't brought this out in a while, so I'll bring this out.
Yeah, okay, let's... Boom, there it goes. Babyface P with the Python. The Python.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's got a Python.
And y'all are going to have to give me round 2 because I drug this gun out for y'all last go around before we were unable to go live. Right? Remember?
Yes. Yeah, okay, let's see
jacked up. Yeah. So.
Okay.
Oh, that's the Mauser?
Yeah. World War II, Mauser. But the cool thing about that, because everybody's like, oh, that's nothing unique. It's from the Tet Offensive in Vietnam.
Oh, wow.
And you have the paperwork, too.
Yeah, and all the unit patches for the guy that captured it off of the...
Let me grab mine real quick. Y'all talk
about
cool. That's
got a competition going here.
Yeah, that's definitely...
Oh, this is going to get good.
Yeah, that's definitely...
man, that's neat that it's got... So what is that, bring back paperwork? Is that how that is?
Yeah, it is. It's the export paperwork from Vietnam and also the Department of Defense reception forms here in the U.S. And so I did a little bit of research, and it was an infantryman with 177th Infantry in Vietnam, South Vietnam, and it was right at the time post-Tet. And the 177th was sent to fight the 275th North Vietnamese Regiment during the Tet. So it's really cool.
Show us that again. One more time. Let's see it. Let's just see the gun. Give some people some time. Don't tease.
I'm trying.
Yeah, there you go. Very cool. Awesome. Okay, Cody's in here. Cody had to go get his.
I get mine. This was my dream gun for a little while. So this is actually... I'm still missing a couple parts off of it to make it a full Mark 110, but it was actually a Mark 110 in the military and was a repurpose.
How much did you spend
Sweet.
on that? Or do you not even want to say?
Yeah, so that was I sold a couple
lot
to find this. I have a Surefire can, so I don't have the Knights Armament can or the proper Mark IV scope. I'm still on the track for that, but I do have a Mark IV on top of it right now. But, yeah, so that was
awesome.
Kudos.
Yeah, is there a specific Knights Armament suppressor that needs to go up on there? What's the deal with that?
They have a whole kit.
See the actual gas block here?
Okay.
There's actually 2 pins here, and the can would actually slide completely over the top.
Okay.
And then pin straight down on the back.
Have you ever...
Pretty crazy.
what's the name of the American Sniper? I think he has an M110 in that movie somewhere. Yeah. It's a big old long can.
Okay, yeah. Harry's holster says Cody wins. Cody wins. Here, I'll show.
It's not as hard. The M110 is cool too.
Yeah.
I'm just gonna show my PPQ 22 tactical with the Liberty Vector suppressor on it, titanium. So there you go. But which is cool. We're gonna do. Summertime. Nothing says summertime like 22s. Shooting 22 suppress.
Barbecue and 22s. That's where it's at.
It's all the summertime's all about that. While you're out there, you take out some squirrels. Some squirrels get frisky. That's what that's for. You know what? Definitely, we need to wrap it up because we're over the 9 o'clock hour here. It's been lots of fun. Lots of people have joined in for the 400th episode, excuse me, not the 4th episode, the 400th episode. So here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to go around the clock here and have these folks tell you guys how you can follow them. I'm going to start with Cody. How can the people out there follow Walther and yourself? I don't know if you do your own social media.
No one wants to follow me. I'm just another bearded white guy with some guns on Instagram. So not real exciting there, but if you want to follow Walther, it's at Walther Arms. Great Instagram page. If you can comment quite a bit, you can get my boy Vince Mann to comment. He's pretty hilarious, so he's going to be the one that's answering everybody on there. If you do want to follow me, it's just Cody, because that's where I like my name at the competitions.
Oh, okay.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, see the name thing. Yeah. All right. So what about you? Well, what about you? How can the folks out there follow you?
Yep. At Bear Creek Cattle Company on Instagram. And, there's, again, a lot of fun stuff. We'll put up anything from muck boots to muskets, man. You just never can tell. And don't forget, by following us on Instagram, you could have a chance to win beef for a year. So, and that's coming up, man, July 31st.
Yeah, or for me, beef for like 2 weeks. Beef for 2 weeks.
And we're going to use random.org to select it, but everybody's going to think it's rigged if you guys win. So I'm just going to have to send you something anyway, right?
Oh, okay.
Thank you for the following and the support.
Oh, yes, definitely. I recommend everyone get out there, follow Walther Arms, and follow Bear Creek Cattle Company. And then my friend here, Babyface P, how can people follow you?
I'm definitely not going right now to folloll Bear Creek because I definitely
he wants his meat.
1 year of meat. Babyface P on YouTube, baby_face P on Instagram. I just put out a video today, another video showing you how to bend a AK receiver. So if you want to go see that, go check it out. Coming up later this week, we're going to be finishing the AK, so those videos, as we actually work on it and finish it, will be coming out a couple days after. So hopefully we'll have it all done this week, and videos will come pretty shortly after. Yeah.
Okay. Make sure you guys follow Babyface P. We need to do some videos together. I think since it's hot, we'll just do some sitting down talking videos. Cause
summer sucks right now.
Yeah, those are easy. You
need to come to the mountains where it's cool and pick up some beef.
Yes. Okay. That's a good plan. We definitely need to do that. I know I did put out, there's a 450 Bushmaster ridiculous pistol that Babyface built up, that we put that video out. You guys,
it's a monster pistol.
Yeah.
Quote unquote pistol.
450 Bushmaster, you got to make it into a pistol.
Oh God.
I mean, that's
like I said in the video. It's
what it was engineered for.
It's a small game round. It's great for small game.
Yeah. So, and then I think I just finished doing Walter. Walter's into military vehicles, and cheers to Walter over in England. Someone said that he was at a Hooters in England or something like that.
I saw his picture.
I believe it. So yeah, you guys can go check that out on social media. But I just finished a video with him where he's showing off his Pinsgauer and Haflinger. So that should be up in a couple of days here, as well as some other stuff. So I want to thank everyone for coming on. I want to thank Walther, who does sponsor the show. They help us to be able to keep doing this, get us to 500, get us to 1,000. A boxing match between me and Louder with Crowder, where I'll just run around the ring like a little baby. Because I know he actually trains for that kind of craziness. But maybe we'll make it happen. I've got the weight advantage on him, though. I know that. heavyweight champion right here. So anyway, thanks to Walther for looking out for us and taking care of us. Thanks to Babyface P. Thanks to Bear Creek Cattle Company. Thanks to everyone out there who's been watching the show all this time, looking at all the episodes, listening to it on audio. We really appreciate you guys. I'm going to drop the end on it right now. Boom, there goes the end. Make sure you subscribe. Make sure you thumbs up. Make sure you ring the bell so you can be notified when we do this again next. And anyone else has any final words here, guys, before we go? No,
just
no final words.
go support the gun industry and buy some guns.
Amen. Amen. Good stuff. All right, we're out of here. Thanks a lot, guys. See you tomorrow. We're out.